Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the farm. Today we are going to be running to town. It's early morning. We're gonna get to town and we're going to buy an implement. And that implement is gonna be a brush hog. And I'm gonna show you guys why, and I'm gonna tell you guys why.
Country, we're living off the grid. North country, just like our grandpas did. Well, it's a well now, we'll work and strive, but I got tough and soul to my wife.
So we're working in this area out here on the property to fence it in. We want to fence out some pasture, get the animals out on it. While we're doing other projects on the farm. Ooh, God. Big ol' freaking spider crawling up my hand. Shelby's gonna love that one. So let me show you guys what it is we're going to be cutting. You see all this brush here. This is brush hog material. This is the stuff it's designed for. So this stuff is really pretty tall. We got our fence line going across here. It's our projected fence line for a cross fencing. But we really need to cut this stuff down to get a good idea of where we want our fencing and cross fencing to go. We're going to be fencing the entire property and then cross fencing multiple pastures to be able to turn them into grass pastures and then do a rotational grazing system. And if we're lucky, maybe cut some grass and be able to put it away. But for now, we need to clear this stuff out. I'd actually bought a little hand push for this, which is probably a gigantic waste of money. It actually didn't do a very good job. It was just too much work. And so I said, let's just get a brush hog, throw it on the back of the tractor and run it through this stuff. So you guys can see here, is almost as far as you can see is this crap. Just a bunch of brush. And I don't know what these are. I don't know what they're going to be. But I know it's all over the property. And as you can see down below it, there's grass. Well, the grass is wanting to grow in this area, and we want it to grow in this area because we want the livestock to be able to utilize this area. And right now, all of this stuff, whatever it is completely taking up this field. It's completely taking up this property, really. Now, here is the other issue, the security issue with having this stuff all over the property. I don't know if you guys can tell, but that stuff's in and around 4 foot on average. So it's very tall. The problem with it being very tall is it allows for predators to be in there, and it allows for predators to be able to get much closer to livestock, to be able to ambush them. It's all cover. This is all just cover. All of this that you guys see behind you should just be field, or is going to become field, but it's field. But right now it's cover. Ambush, cover for the predators out here. I'm taking you guys over here to just kind of show you some more, but then show you the very real issue, and not just claiming that there's predators in the area, but showing that there's actually a nice little bear highway in here. There's quite a few game trails in here. There's quite a few game trails that are used by different animals. We know that moose cross here. But this dude right here, you guys can see this little trail going right up through here is a little bear highway. There's lots of bear poop on this trail. You can actually turn you around. This has been stepped on, but that's a pile of bear poop. Was a pile of bear poop. That's probably going to be from last fall, last summer. Most likely last fall, actually, since there's a bunch of berries in it. But you don't have to go too much further to find more. I actually walked up this and in like a 100-yard stretch, we'd found like 4 or 5 piles of poop. Big tube poop, which means it had a big butthole, which means it was a big bear. Wasn't no cub walking around. But here's the issue. You look right behind me. If I'm a cow, something could be 20 feet from me and I wouldn't know it, because bears are low to the ground. You wouldn't know it. So that's a problem for me, for my livestock, and it's a big problem for my kids as well. We don't want the kids to be out here and be injured by bears, them startling the bears, and then the bears possibly attacking, because we have black bear on this property, but we also have grizzly. Apparently we're definitely in the region for grizzly. According to some neighbors around here, they have trail cam pictures of grizzly as well. So we want to mitigate any issues with those animals specifically, so that we don't have a clash that leads in us having to kill a grizzly or shoot a grizzly for unnecessary purposes, right? That's just going to cause issue, right? You shoot a bear, you got to talk to law enforcement. Law enforcement's got to come out and decide whether or not that bear should have been shot or not. So lots of potential legal issues with that. So it's much easier to just come in here and mow all this stuff down and work to mitigate the problem and not give them such a nice habitat for eating my livestock. So we've got a whole design going on out here, but we basically just ran a string line from one point of the property to the other point of the property, and that is kind of just our first line that we have decided, let's put this in, and then pull fencing all around the property to create our first pasture. But you guys can see that T-post is out of the ground over 4 feet, and that string line runs right across the tops of all of that brush out there. So we got to go get a brush hog to put in the tractor. Now we're not going to be able to just brush hog through this stuff. There's going to be stumps in here. I know up here there's a big tree that is down as well. We have to get all of that stuff up, because the brush hog won't eat a tree that big anyway. But we are definitely going to put this thing to the test. We're going to see what it's capable of, and hopefully it's one of our just greatest tools on the tractor to be able to transform this whole property. Because if we can get a bunch of work done with it, it's just going to be a lifesaver of how much it'll do. And it'll do tons of this stuff. Tons and tons and tons of this stuff. It's just a matter of putting it to use. And then we're going to test how big of stuff it can bust through. You can see there's, you know, old trees falling apart, logs and stuff there. Will the brush hog beat the crap out of that stuff? I don't know. We're gonna find out. I've never used a brush hog before. Never had to do any of this kind of stuff. Never got to this stage on the last property. We just started clearing land and that sort of thing. So out here, new tools, new experiences, learning new lessons. Pretty excited for it. So let's run to town and let's go get us a brush hog. Got the brush cutter home. We got a 5-foot brush cutter according to the guys at Tractor Supply. That is going to be plenty for what we are planning on doing. We didn't want to go too big on the brush cutter because this is kind of a tighter property. If we were doing hundreds of acres of field, then we would go with something bigger, get it done quicker, but we need to be able to be agile. So we went a little bit smaller. We're going to try out one of the brush hogs and get some stuff done. Also got a truckload of fence. We've got a couple of different types of fencing we're actually going to be putting on this property. We're going to be trying some stuff out. We're going to be using some stuff we know works. This stuff is cattle panel. It is 20-foot lengths. We've got quite a bit of that stuff. We're going to run that in certain spots because it looks nice. It holds up really well. It's good bang for the buck. It's all welded together, and it really just, it holds up better than this kind of stuff. Field fencing, if you guys have watched the channel for a while, you know I hate field fencing. I absolutely hate it, and I said I wasn't going to ever put field fencing on any of my property ever again. But I have a tractor now, and it should be able to pull that field fencing much tighter. So we're gonna give it one more go of field fencing, and that is it. And we're only gonna be doing a sheep's pen with that stuff. So those spools are, I think they're like 320 feet. So I've got 4 of them. So we'll be able to do a 320 foot square for the sheep specifically. Now I've got a bunch of wood posts here. I think we've got 5 inches and then a couple of 8 inches for a gate. But I think we're gonna do the majority of the fencing out of these wood posts. So we'll go wood post, T-post, wood post. And that held up well for us at the last property when we were installing fence just before we sold it. That's where this stuff is from as well, because we pulled it all up and we're able to take it with us. So guys, I'm gonna go and fire up the tractor and start getting all of this stuff offloaded. We also got some barbed wire as well. We are going to be putting a strand of top wire barbed wire across, because we want to try and keep predators from jumping the fence. If a bear tries to get over the fence, we're hoping it hits that barbed wire and decides to leave our property and go somewhere else. So we're hoping that the barbed wire on top is a good deterrent. Now it's also going to serve as a visual barrier for the sheep. The sheep are they're not gonna want to jump over the top of the sheep fencing, and the strand of barbed wire is just going to be too high for them to want to mess with that. The cows aren't necessarily going to try and jump it either. That's a good visual barrier for them. We didn't want to do a bunch of fencing of barbed wire because Highland cows don't care. Highland cows are covered in hair, lots and lots of hair. So they don't care if there's barbed wire anywhere on the property. They'll rub on it, they'll go through it, which means they could get entangled in it. So we don't want to do, we're not going to do 5-strand, 4-strand barbed wire fence for these ladies because they'll just hurt themselves. So it's a total waste. So any wire fencing that we do put up is going to be just regular wire, except for this top strand of barbed wire, because I know that these girls will not try to jump that fence. The design we have going, they're not gonna, they don't care. We got enough pasture for them. They've got no reason to go through the fence. If they get rowdy and go into the fence, they're gonna go into the welded wire part of the fence. They're not gonna go into barbed wire fence, and then they're not gonna get caught up in it, and they're not gonna actually pop through the other side. Like the Michael Jordan of cows. All right, guys, that is the design of fencing. That is the idea of what we've got going on out here in the next little bit. If you guys are interested in watching us put up that fence, hit the subscribe button, hang out. If you guys are interested in watching us just transform this entire property, hit the subscribe button. Go back and check out the videos from when we got here just in the winter time. And we are going to be doing a lot of work out here, using the tractor, using the tools, using the different implements, and turning all of this, what is mostly forested land, into nice green rotational grazing pasture systems. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and we will catch you on the next one. This little girl should be having a calf sometime this month.
I've been running around this farm just chasing them chickens that are running along, yeah. I've been running around this farm just chasing them chickens that are running along, yeah.